Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sully Squad. Good evening. How's everybody doing? Unfortunately, we got a packed house tonight. Actually, unfortunately, we have an 0-3 baseball team, so it's been kind of a rough start here. But thank God, there's 159 more to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
So we got a big
April
series.
baseball.
What's that?
It's April baseball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pennants can't. It's way too early. I feel like I was on Twitter and I feel like I saw a couple people on there like kind of panicking. I'm like, let's just, as Aaron Rodgers sometimes says, relax. You know what I'm saying? It's 3 games.
We need to hit the panic button.
Yeah, but we got a lot to get into. We're gonna get into some Phillies. We got the Sixers had a measuring stick game last night. They kind of unfortunately didn't quite measure up. They got kind of trounced in Milwaukee, so we'll get to that later. But first, I got my usual cast here. I got my man Sean to my left.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Got my man right below me, Mr. 6 for 6, Diego the Hammer Bianchi. What's up, bro? How you doing?
What's up, guys? How you doing tonight?
Chilling, man.
It's good, Hammer.
I got my right to Diego's side. I got my man Mike Fuji. What's up, Mike? How you doing, bro?
What's going on? 24 days till draft day, 3 days to the home opener, Phillies, Yanks, Sixers, playoffs. What's going on? Everybody, let's get fired up for a great show. Let's welcome our guest, Jay Daniel. Welcome to the panel. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thanks for hopping on. And of course, I got my man Uro Paul right above Fuji. What's up, Paul? How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. So
Let's go, Paul.
So anyway, thanks for hopping on with us. And like I said, it's baseball season. So many changes. I mean, you look at the pitch clock and the difference in the times of the games, and getting rid of the shift. And I just kind of wanted to get your perspective, because I know you wrote a book on the 1980 Phillies called Finally. And I just wanted to get your perspective as a baseball historian. How do you like the new pitch clock and some of the differences in the game?
So far I don't mind it at all. I go back to, there was a game I was watching, a game, it was Carlton against Seaver on YouTube, and you can find it. And Seaver, I think in 2.5 minutes, threw 5 or 6 pitches and threw over to first base 2 or 3 times in 2.5 minutes. And so I understand what they're trying to do. I mean, I think, first of all, I hate Rob Manfred. But secondly, just, it's one of those things where it had gotten out of hand. I mean, I was thinking last night, after that Phillies game last night, right, that, they played, it's a Sunday night game and they lost, and that sucked. But at the end of the day, the game was over, and it was like 10:45 or something. Yeah. And it was then that it struck me, wait, is there a chance that I could, at my advanced age, stay up to see the end of a postseason game again? That, because I'm tired of these 3-2 games that last 4.5 hours. It's just crazy. And so I don't mind it. The pitch clock, I understand what they're trying to do, and I love what they're trying to do. I think it might need a little bit of tweaking, because I was watching the Brewers Mets game today, which, by the way, the Brewers hammered the Mets, so that was a good thing to see. Nice. But they were talking about how it might affect pitchers where, when they get in trouble, they don't really have the opportunity to maybe slow the pace down a little bit, catch their breath a little bit. And they were talking the same thing about the hitters as well, where if a pitcher is really grooving, you don't have the opportunity to maybe step out and collect yourself and throw the pitcher off a little bit. So I get that side of it, and I agree with it. But the flip side of it is, remember when we were all growing up watching baseball, it was, Mike Hargrove took forever, and he was the human rain delay. Well, now everyone is Mike Hargrove, right? Everyone steps out, and then there's, with all the pitching specialization that there is, and there's 3 pitching changes in an inning, and like I said, you get 3-2 games that are 4.5 hours, and then once you get in the postseason, when they make the commercial breaks longer, because the poor impoverished owners, as we were talking about before, need to make more money. Now all of a sudden you've got the games take even longer. And so, it's really hard. if you work and you got to get up at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning or whatever it is to get to work, and these games don't start till 8:20, you can't stay up for the whole postseason till 1 a.m. every night. It's just tough to do. And so I think I'm happy with it so far. And the other thing I love to see is the stolen base returning. And you can talk about the analytics of it. And people said, well, it went away because it wasn't cost effective mathematically to potentially give up that out, which I understand. And as a fan, I love to see stolen bases, but the numbers are there. But on the flip side of that, now when they're showing the numbers now it is mathematically viable to steal bases, and we're seeing stolen bases again, and I freaking love it. It's great. I mean, I saw a game I watched the Braves game that was the first game of the year, right? Acuna gets a base hit. The pitcher threw over twice. He wasn't allowed to throw over again, and Acuna took off because he knew that he could get a bigger lead.
Right.
Oh, agreed. Love this. Love the stolen base coming back. I mean, it was extinct for forever, but now with this pitch clock, these guys are just getting a jump right off first base.
No, I think it's great. I mean, it adds excitement to the game. And the other thing with the shift rules is now, we're starting to see more balls put in play. Balls that are hit in between the first and second baseman on a line are not a ground out anymore. It's a hit like it's supposed to be, So, I mean, get off my lawn, right? But I like the fact that a ball hit hard in between the first and second baseman is no longer a ground out because the third baseman's there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think so far they said average the shaved all 27 minutes per game so far. The new rules, I believe it said.
Yeah.
And, I don't, I like the speeding up, but I'm not sure if I feel about the pitching because the time clock. Because like these pitchers, maybe it was relevant in the first two games with Nola and Wheeler getting rocked. It messes up their groove. They have to. I guess they have to adjust to it. But at first, I don't think it's a pitcher-friendly thing, and everyone has to adjust to it.
No, I agree.
Yeah, every player's got to adjust to it.
Yeah,
Works for everybody.
I know the pitchers that are, are like Cy Young candidates and stuff. It's interesting to see how they progress throughout the season with the new changes. See how much it actually messes with their, psyche and their, delivery out, stuff like that. So it's gonna be interesting to see going through the season how these historically great pitchers, are they going to be great pitchers still, or are they just can't adjust to the new rules?
And you also saw something too today. I think it was today. I was watching again that Mets game where all of a sudden the pitcher, you see the tweaks, right? The veteran moves are like, oh, clock's running down. Pitch com's not working. I can't hear the catcher. Time, right? So there's ways around it too. So and kind of veteran moves that the guys can move to buy themselves a little bit of time. And you know what? I'm fine with that too. I mean, that's all gamesmanship. I think it needs a little bit of tweaking, but I love the concept of it. Nobody wants to sit there for 4 hours, in a game that's there's 7 hits and the game takes 4 hours. It's just stupid.
I seen yesterday. I forget what game it was. It ended in 2 hours and 3 minutes. Now that's a baseball game I wouldn't mind watching. 4 hours is too long.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was going to say the bottom line is these players are going to have to get used to it because let's keep it real. You look at the demographics of baseball fans, and it just keeps getting older and older. They lose the younger fan. The younger fan needs more instant gratification, and that's why you need more balls in play. That's why you need more action. And to your point about the stolen base, I wanted to get back to real quick. That's why, like, in my opinion, I think that Trey Turner has a great opportunity if the Phillies have a big year to win MVP, because I feel like Turner in this ballpark could hit 25 homers, he could hit 300, and he could steal about 40 bags as well.
I agree. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, and if his performance in the World Baseball Classic is any indication, I think he's going to have a big year. And there's the question from Patrick, right? I mean, Schwarber's uncomfortable not leading off. My personal opinion on that is no, because he's not a leadoff hitter. He's a middle of the order guy. And, and if you now all of a sudden, if you get Turner on ahead of him, now he can concentrate on driving runs in instead of trying to get on so that somebody else can drive him in.
Yeah, I mean, last year he led the league in home runs and didn't even have 100 RBIs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But I mean, and yeah, I guess you do have to have Turner lead off because of the speed aspect. And it's only 3 games in. But here's to kind of piggyback off of Pat's question. If we're say a month and a half into the season and Schwarber's still struggling, though, I know we all think Schwarber should hit 4th or 5th, but I'm wondering if maybe they would consider batting him lead off again just to get him back in the rhythm.
But then
he almost had that home run yesterday that died right at the fence. I mean, I really thought that was going to be gone, get him going, but long.
Well, it's only 3 games. Listen, I'm not saying that now. I'm speaking pure hypothetically. If we're like a month and a half in and the guy's hitting like 180 and he only has like 3 or 4 homers, like we may not understand the rhyme or reason. Like, hey, it makes no sense to us. Like, yo, why is this dude hitting leadoff? But sometimes baseball players are creatures of habit. Like, what if it's something where he just feels so comfortable there? Maybe you would put him back. You know what I mean?
I completely disagree. I don't know that he's not a leadoff hitter. And I just pulled up his splits from last year. In April last year, he hit 169 with 5 homers. And in May, he hit 196 with 6 homers. So at the end of May, he's sitting at, about 180 with 11 homers. And then he took off.
Right.
So I don't think he's not a leadoff hitter, and he's especially not a leadoff hitter on any team that has Trey Turner on it. That's why he was brought in. He was brought in to play shortstop and hit leadoff. And
he was only
down.
He was only leading off because that's the only choice we had last year.
Exactly.
Right.
He's not. He's not. You hit for the one of the most home runs in the league. But you're got under 100 RBIs. That doesn't make sense at the 1 for any team in the league.
Yeah, and if you hit lead league in home runs and don't drive in 100, that's not on you. That's on guys behind you that aren't getting on.
I gotcha.
Trey Turner solves all your needs at leadoff.
Right. I mean, and they've got a leadoff hitter now, and so I think the RBI totals are going to go up. I also think you're going to see a big year from Castellanos this year. I think the guy's too good of a hitter to do what he did again last year.
No, listen, I agree with you guys. I was just asking the question. I totally agree. I don't think Schwarber should bat leadoff. So we're all on the same page there. I got a question here. Pat Bernard, he says, don't forget he led the league in strikeouts. That's true. And then I got one more comment here. Mike Laura, a comment about pitching. He says, does the Phillies pitching hold up this year? And supposedly there was a rumor that they were looking at possibly signing Dallas Keuchel. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that's a bad idea. I don't think he can pitch anymore.
Yeah,
and I have grave concerns about the pitching staff. The one thing that really concerns me about the pitching staff, too, is with Painter going down, and who knows what his status is, and Nola in a walk year, if you bring Painter back, quote-unquote, rush him. I mean, the kid's he's going to turn 20, but essentially, he's still a kid, right? If you bring him back and he blows out, now you lose Nola for next year, probably as a free agent, and Painter's not coming back for next year. And all of a sudden, you've got 2 huge holes in your rotation you're going to have to fill for next year.
Right.
That whole situation scares me.
Jay, don't you think the Phillies are rushing Painter a little bit too fast? In a way.
You know what? I think my first instinct is yes. But he's a special talent. And I mean, as the old school guy, right? You go back to Dwight Gooden struck out 276 hitters when he was 19 years old. Granted, not many guys are Dwight Gooden pre-Coke. But
true.
I mean, I think it hasn't had a lot of Painter needs more innings. And I mean, the other thing, and we've talked about this before, right? Is like in our era, guys didn't blow out nearly as much because everybody wasn't max effort. And this is what I always talk about on all these shows, right? Is like you have back in the day, right? You had Goose Gossage, J.R. Richard, Nolan Ryan, Jim Kern, a couple guys who could really hump it up, could really throw the ball hard, but they all worked in the low 90s. And they dialed it up when they needed to. And now every single team has got 6 guys in their bullpen. I mean, I watched the game on opening day. Guys throwing 104.
Yeah.
And it's just insane. And but I mean, and then they blow out and they just replace them with somebody else who can throw 102 or whatever it is. And so I would love to see them take their time with Painter, but I mean, man, I really think they're in a tough situation pitching wise. I really do. I mean, I'm not too sold on Jameson Taillon and I mean, you lost Eflin, and Eflin is not he's not going to win the Cy Young. And I was shocked at how much money the Rays gave him, but at least he had some innings under his belt. And I don't know. I mean, hopefully, they should get Suarez back soon, but that pitching really concerns me.
They said May Suarez for his wrist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need him. I mean, do you think that it's possible that maybe some of this is just from such a long season, you know what I mean? Like Nola had never. I think I read Nola pitched 30 more innings than he pitched the year previous, and then you look at Suarez. I mean, he pitched longer than he ever did, and now all of a sudden these guys are running into some issues. You know what I'm saying?
It could be, but I think at this point in Nola's career, he should be able to handle a 30-inning bump.
Okay,
in my opinion, and I mean. So I'm not dogging Dr. K. The kid was unbelievable.
Right.
I wish he would have stayed clean. He was after 2 or 3 years, he was on his path to the Hall of Fame. I mean, the guy was phenomenal. And what he did as a 19-year-old is insane.
Oh, I know.
It's the last time
no doubt.
You will never see a 19-year-old strike out 276 hitters again. Period.
Yeah,
that was phenomenal.
Yeah, Pat Bernard says Coke helped Kenny Powers' career. So hey, there you go,
right?
Well, Doc Reeve, Doc was born again with the Yankees. I believe didn't he throw a no-hitter with the Yankees at one point back in the late '90s?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned too with like all these guys that throw so hard and yeah, I mean that looks great for radar guns and I do think it plays in the bullpen, but I remember like watching Tom Glavine and Greg Maddux. I mean, they could barely break a pane of glass, and they got guys out. They mowed guys in. They were out. Their games were like 2 hours and 15 minutes, and they just
but analytics nowadays would smash them
pitchers.
Yeah.
Analytics would smash them pitchers. Them pitchers who can't throw over 90, and their changeups coming or their curveballs coming. You could just sit on that thing and get that out the park. I just feel like them pitchers that people go, I used to watch Jamie Moyer strike out guys at 75 miles an hour. Good luck today with the numbers you have on all these guys. That's going yard every time.
Nah, I'm telling you right
100%,
now.
100%.
Right, no way. Dude, Greg Maddux had like the best location I've ever seen.
Then how come we don't have pitchers like that nowadays? How come we don't have pitchers like that nowadays?
Because Greg Maddux was a freak.
Because these guys today can't go like the old horses.
No.
I mean, they're supposedly better physically specimen, but I mean, last night, Balder's taken out with 72 pitches. Quarrel went on 4 days resting through like a horse. Robin Roberts, I mean, it's different eras, but those guys were horses. They would pitch on 4 or 5 days. These guys today, it's a joke. I mean, it just fires me up anyway. But
I think to your point, though,
never mind me.
I think the guys today, that's ingrained when they get into the game. They're never expected to go that far.
Yeah,
if they were expected to go that far when they're in A ball, they would pitch differently. But they're taught when they get in the game, look, you're only going to have to throw 5 and we're going to cap your innings and we're going to do this. And, I mean, I think the greats of any era, I think would be great in any era. Mm-hmm. I mean, but the game has changed and they're just asked to do different things. I think Robin Roberts, if Robin Roberts were pitching today, I think he'd be a different pitcher. I don't think he'd be able to go, because to your point, Diego, right? I mean, he'd get lit up if he's throwing, 85.
Yeah.
Right. That's BP. Right. So he's got to throw harder and that changes the way that you pitch. I mean, I understand your point. I mean, but I think it's a little bit too easy to say, well, those guys, because I mean, what was it?
Well, I agree. I agree there. Every great
back.
would be great in every era. We always say that about all the great players. They were all great players will always find a way to succeed no matter when they played. I'm just saying, if you specifically took that pitcher and put him in today's game, he gets rocked.
Well, I think if you put Greg Maddux in today's game pitching the way he did in the 90s, but Greg Maddux was a good enough pitcher. I mean, Greg Maddux made the Hall of Fame with a two-seamer and a changeup.
Yeah.
Right.
He can put it anywhere he wanted to.
Yeah.
So he's a smart. I mean, you read those stories about Greg Maddux where he's sitting in the dugout. He's like, "You boys, you better watch your lips here in the dugout because in two pitches, a ball's going to be coming our way." And sure as hell, two pitches later, somebody rockets one in the dugout because he was just that smart to be able to read pitchers or read hitters and where they were sitting and how they hit the ball and how they swung. Greg Maddux would figure a way out. I mean, and again, that's a very, very specific example.
Exactly.
I completely get your point about how, guys of that era that you can't get by. You've got to throw mid-90s now. You have to. I mean, you got guys now throwing 96-mile-an-hour freaking sliders. I mean, that's just insane.
Smart.
It was Soto last night, wasn't it? Throwing like 96, 97.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even have anyone in mind, but I mean, you watch any game and you're going to see a 95-mile-an-hour slider. You're going to see a 91-mile-an-hour changeup.
I just think
all these MLB teams are looking like from the second year become a prospect, for example, in high school, they're looking at your gun. And if you're not getting it to where they want you to get it, then you're not going to make it to that next level because they're not going to give you the opportunity. So Greg Maddux, I get your point. He got the opportunities back then. And when you see how special he is, you go, yeah, we could put it in that game because he could put the ball anywhere. But would he even got that opportunity in today's MLB, hitting the gun? What he's hitting? Right.
No, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. There's a guy that I went to high school with. His son played college baseball, and he played like in one of those. He played for the Chicago Dogs last year, right? Mm-hmm. There was a guy on his team who just got guys out. He had his strikeout rate was like 1.3 or whatever, 1.75 per nine or something like that. But he didn't throw 80. He didn't throw 95, and no one would look at him. And that's why I keep waiting for, you talk about Moneyball. I keep waiting for the new market inequity to be Kyle Hendricks, to be a guy who can just freaking pitch and get guys out. And who cares how hard he throws? And it hasn't happened yet. So obviously I'm wrong. But I don't, it just seems to me like, because to your point too, Diego, you could also get that guy on the cheap because he doesn't throw.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. He wouldn't command 20, 25 million. You'd be able to get him maybe on a 1 year, $8 to $9, $10 million deal. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mike Laura, to your point about the old school, they said Joe Jackson pitched 3 to 4 times a week. And then just we touched on Painter real quick, but I don't know what your do you have an opinion on the other kid, Abel? It says Abel's also waiting in the wings as well.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about him. I know what I read today was that, it's going to be a little bit before he comes up. And there's one other, who's the other guy that's in the other pitching prospect? I got it written down here.
I think his name's
yes.
McGarry or something like that.
Yeah. So those 3 guys, but they're not ready, and what I've read is that they're not ready. I don't know how close they are. Yeah. Like, I don't know kind of anything more than that. But so, maybe, and what we talked about before was, if something happens with Painter, you've also maybe got those 2 guys that can fill in. But boy, do you really want to, with a World Series caliber team, do you want to rely on 2 rookie starters? That's a little dicey.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it also is the Phillies, and if they lose Nola, they'll go out and sign another pitcher.
Oh yeah.
They're going to do that anyway.
Yeah, that was one of the most encouraging things I saw in the spring training was I don't know if you saw the interview with John Middleton, and he basically said, hey, look, this is about legacy, and 100 years from now, I want, like he basically said, hey, people don't ask what the 27 Yankees payroll was, basically.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so that, as a Phillies fan, that was extremely encouraging.
No, that's great to hear. I mean, that's great to hear. I mean, when you compare it to, other owners who claim that they lost money, I mean, are you freaking kidding me? That's the most ridiculous thing that a professional sports owner can say, especially in baseball. Oh, we lost money last year. I mean, the famous story that I heard was one year, one team made a profit of whatever it was, like in the 50s, they made a $1 million profit one year, and the next year they made a $750,000 profit, and they claimed that they lost money.
Yeah.
I mean, but I mean, spare me that. You did not lose money. If all these owners are losing so much money, they made a crap load of money to be able to buy these teams. So that means they're good business people. But all of a sudden they get into baseball and lose money 10 years in a row because they love the game so much. That is a load of crap. They're all making money hand over fist. And we talked about it before. Right now they're selling advertising on the uniforms to make more money. And as a YouTube TV subscriber, it pisses me off to no end that I can't watch MLB Network anymore because they're in a pissing contest with MLB over literally pennies per subscriber.
Wow.
And so now I have to watch ESPN in the morning and catch my baseball highlights in between lacrosse highlights and stories about what LeBron tweeted yesterday, which I don't care. Just show me
True. What are your thoughts on Taiwan Walker going against Cortez tonight?
I good luck. I mean, I don't know. I mean, well, I would say good luck against the Yankees. I mean, that team can just hit.
Right.
And I mean, after getting swept on the road to begin your season, that's one of the last teams you want to face. And especially you don't want to face Cortez. And, and I mean, they got really lucky that Falter pitched as well as he did yesterday to give the bullpen a little bit of a rest because they're going to have a couple short starts here. And, and if, I mean, I've never really been a big Tyone fan. I mean, he's fine, but he's not a guy where let's put it this way. When I look in the newspaper, when I get my morning paper and I look at him, like, oh, Tyone's pitching today. Oh, good. All right. We're in good shape. Like that's not a thing for me anyway. And I don't mean, I don't want to rip the guy. I mean, he's not somebody that I'm going to count on.
Not against the Yankees
he's
lineup.
The guy that you look at him and like, boy, I hope we can squeeze out some runs and get him, some support early, and he can hold on.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, speaking of good lineups and people you could count on, I know you have a book coming out on the 82 World Series, correct? I believe it was the famous Brew Crew. I know they had a great lineup of Robin Young and Paul Milder and them guys. Yeah.
So this is the new book. It's called Sud Series, and it's about the entire season. Like my first book. And so this is, but that Brewers team, they could just hit. I mean, they had the top three guys in the American League in hits with Cooper, Yount, and Mulder. And that was an unbelievable lineup. And this book was a lot of fun to write too. I mean, it was the first one, I was kind of getting my feet wet a little bit, and I think it went pretty well. The people who read it, for the most part, either enjoyed it or didn't tell me that they didn't like it. So we'll put it that way. And this one actually is doing a lot better sales wise. And I, just reps, right? You do something else for the second time and you get better at it. And so, that was, I'm looking forward to it. And it was a lot of fun. And so I appreciate you bringing it up because the book basically just dropped on Friday. It's available on Amazon. And then, if you can order it for your book from your local bookstores or even call your library, if you're cheap like me and you don't want to pay for it, call your library and have them order it for you. And then you can just, I still get paid and you can read the book for free. So that's also a great option. And Patrick,
I got a question for you. No, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, Patrick.
I was going to get back to the current season and ask you
Sure.
if you think if the Phillies have enough pitching to win a World Series. You said you weren't really sold.
I don't think so. But on the other hand, I didn't think that last year either, and they almost did. So, I think, the problem, one of the problems is just depth all the way around. There's not a lot of bench support, pitching wise, position player wise, in my opinion. And I think, again, if you're counting on Jameson Taillon to win, 12 or 14 games, and it's a little scary when you're missing some of these other guys and and Harper's obviously going to miss time, and you lost Hoskins already. And that puts a lot of pressure on all of your starters across the board. And, and again, to your point too about pitching, part of pitching is defense, and they've got two of the worst fielding corner outfielders in the game. And and Castellanos, those guys can both hit the crap out of the ball, but they can't field. And man, that's going to play over the end of the season. And I'm not a big Christian Pache fan. I never have been because he can't hit.
Right.
But I mean, man, all of a sudden, if you put him, he becomes a defensive substitution, especially when they get Harper back. Or I love Marsh. I think that was a steal of a deal for Moniak.
Yeah.
I mean, Marsh is never going to be a superstar, but he's a hell of a lot better than Mickey Moniak. And it's typical Phillies luck to have the first pick in the draft and probably the weakest draft in 30 years. And that sounds like, I guess it is a slam on Moniak, but that's also not fair. It's not his fault.
Right.
But but I love Marsh, but again, Marsh has to cover an awful lot of ground, and maybe that's why they brought Pache in, because everybody knows he can't hit. He's had the opportunity to prove it in Atlanta and Oakland. He didn't do it. But I was thinking about it today. I feel like Christian Pache is a poor man's Billy Hamilton, and that's not saying a lot.
Yeah, you're right there. Yeah, because that kid came up in multiple spots last night with guys on base, and he came up, and I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, don't even bother. Just put your hat and your glove on, because you ain't gonna do nothing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Really, don't even bother. You know what I mean? It's crazy. But I guess real quick, did you have a favorite? Pat Bernard was asking what your favorite baseball movie was.
My top 3 baseball movies of all time are Bull Durham, and Bull Durham.
Oh wow.
Okay, yeah, that was a great movie. Yeah, they had Bull Durham, and there's so many with baseball. You go Bull Durham or The Natural or so many.
But I loved Bull Durham, and there's Ron Shelton, the guy who wrote and directed Bull Durham, came out with a book last year about the movie, and it is fantastic. If you're a Bull Durham fan at all, I would highly recommend that. It's like a masterclass in movie making and writing and everything else. And they wanted Anthony Michael Hall to be in that movie. There's so many great backstories about, casting and all those kinds of things. So I would highly recommend. It's called The Church of Baseball, and it's outstanding.
Hey, Sam.
I love Bull Durham. There's a friend of mine that we will just text Bull Durham quotes back and forth to each other for like a half hour.
Awesome.
Jay, just a quick question for you. Have you ever been to every baseball stadium?
I have not been. I actually saw a thing the other day. There was an article that ranked the top stadiums or all the stadiums from top to bottom, and I've been to 11 of the current stadiums. So, I've been to a decent number. But I grew up, you guys obviously grew up at the Vet. I grew up in Southwest Ohio. So I grew up at Riverfront Stadium, which is essentially the exact same stadium.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And, but as we always say, right, it was a hole, but it was our hole, and we loved it. And I miss Riverfront Stadium. It was a crappy place to watch a baseball game, but I miss that place just from the memories, from the teams that we saw play there and the guys that we saw play there.
That's all we knew. Like, you knew Riverfront, we had the Vet.
Yeah.
It was just, the product, I don't remember the late 70s fully, but I remember I was 8 years old and the Phillies won in 80. So it was still amazing because, when you see guys like Hall of Famers, Schmidt, Steve Carlton, Pete Rose, and so on.
Yeah.
It was just like a treat.
Absolutely. And I grew up going to see, the Reds play the Phillies every year, and there's 8 Hall of Famers?
Yeah.
On the field at one time.
With the big red machine, right?
Yeah. I saw Seaver go against Carlton at Riverfront. And that's
wow.
That's classic.
It's a memory, yeah.
Definitely. Well, listen, Jonathan, thank you so much for hopping on. I appreciate your time. And, everybody out there, check out the book. It looks very interesting. And where else can people find you for any of your information?
So my website is 80sbaseball.com. If you're an 80s baseball fan, check that out. And then I'm on Twitter at jdaniel2033. And then I also have a Facebook page. So if you're on Facebook at 80s Baseball, and I post a whole bunch of crap that happened a long time ago every day. My whole thing is, what happened on today's date in 1983 or whatever year it is, whose birthday it is, who hit 3 homers, who threw a no-hitter, that kind of stuff. So I appreciate having me on, guys. Thanks so much.
No problem at all.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
Take care,
Thanks, man.
gentlemen.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Take care.
You too.
Take care.
Bye. So yeah, that was interesting. I love looking back. You know what I mean? I love
your old heads. I love your old heads. Well, this guy back in the day would throw cheaters over here. that old head mentality.
You're so damn young.
Hey.
Wait, hang on a second though.
That was baseball.
Here's the thing, right? I get he agreed with you, and I get your point too. I totally do. But I was just bringing up I was bringing up Maddox and Glavine because they had like impeccable control.
Yeah.
Now Jamie Moyer, you're right. Jamie Moyer might have an issue today.
Oh,
I got you. But
He's getting robbed.
there's certain guys that would be able to pitch, now that pitch back then, just because for instance, okay, these guys today. Yes, you're right. They could be waiting for the guy that throws slow. But Maddox was such a student of the game. He would see their swing and know exactly where to put the ball, and he could do it. That's all.
No,
I'm
I know. I agree. We always talk about it, Joe. We're talking about greats, and we're always like, any great's great in every era. But he wouldn't be able to pitch the way he pitched back in the day. He'd have to adjust his game to pitch in today's game.
Yeah, but
No doubt.
with Mad, I mean, I agree with you, but with Maddox, I don't think Maddox would have to throw 94, 95. I think he was so effective and so good that I think this guy that's swinging, like for instance, the guy's up and he's swinging uppercut because he wants in a home run.
He's gonna feel
Maddox would put that, John, where he would ground out. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he knows what he's doing, But anyway, forget that. I got we got Pat Bernard. He said, "Great interview, fellas, and great time hanging out with the John and Little John." Thanks, Pat. It was good seeing you yesterday, bro.
You looked good yesterday, Pat.
Yeah. I know he was all dressed up. I'll tell you, I was like, "Damn, dude!" I was like, "You look professional as hell." You know what I mean?
Polo Pat, the professional. Pat.
He had his professional.
Edge of Sports is out here. Edge of Philly Sports is out here. We're
right,
in the press boxes. We're doing our shit. Let's go.
That's right. Yo, EOP was in the building down at that Wings game. You know what I'm saying? And it was kind of funny too, because like I was there with my son, so like Pat's dressed in like this like banging ass suit. I'm just rocking a Carlos Reese jersey. They're probably like, "Who's this club?" You know what I mean? It was funny, but all right. So
everyone got to start writing wings. Let's start making these connects. Let's go.
Hell yeah, I know, right?
Love the fire,
I'm gonna hit up the Wings head coach right now.
Hey, hold on. Hey, Paul.
You should.
Hey, Paul told me yesterday Red Bull gives you wings, right, Paul?
On another level.
Yeah. So all right. So let's get into all right, we've got an 0-3 team. We were looking back at the Texas series, so let's look forward to this series with the Yankees. We got Taijuan Walker tonight against was it Nestor Cortez?
Nestor Cortez.
We got Nola and Cole tomorrow.
Nola Cole. Oh boy.
Is that tomorrow or is that Wednesday?
Are we staring at 0-5, dude?
Let's hope Aaron Nola's bad inning comes after he gets taken out. You know what I mean? If we get him out at the right time, his bad inning's supposed to come in the 6th. Let's get him out of 5th. You know?
I thought they were going Strom against, is it Yerman? It's spelled German, but I think it's pronounced Yerman.
Yeah.
Esteban Yerman.
Yeah, I was gonna say is Nola pitching tomorrow or is he pitching
Wednesday? I'm looking at the site now.
Yeah, Nola's pitching Wednesday.
Against
tomorrow is
Strom.
Strom against Yerman.
Oh boy. Well, hey, you know what, guys? You know what? That's actually good for us because we're going to see Wheeler on Thursday.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, at the opener.
All right, good.
Nice, guys. That's going to be fun.
Well, yeah, and it's going to be a banging time. We're going to have a great time. I'm just hoping we're not 0-6 going into that, John. I mean, let's at least win one or two of these games. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Be
Dude, we're going to
nice
be
to
0-6.
take two
We're
up
going to be
there.
0-6. Everyone's going to be panicking. You know, everyone's going to be like, season over. Season over. And we're fine.
Matter of fact, you got Philly sports trips up there representing with Vince Rizzuto.
Nice.
That ticket sold out fast.
Yeah. So let's make our prediction, and then we'll move on to the Sixers here. So, all right, let's go to the next 6. So let's go from now until we come back next week. We got 6 games. We got 3 up at the Bronx, and then we got the trash Cincinnati Reds coming here. So. But I mean, it's baseball, so you can lose to a trashy ass team. So let's just say,
No, of course.
the next 6. What are we doing here? How are we looking?
I'll be out 2 out of the 3 of those Cincinnati Red series. I'll be there on Thursday with you guys and then Saturday too. So, I don't know. Yankees series scares me. We walk out there 1-2. We get lucky 1-2.
Yeah. I'm with you.
I'm going to say we're 3-6. We're 3-6. Our record will be 3-6 coming back here on Monday. Whether they take 1 from the Yankees, 2 from the Reds, or lose all 3 to the Yankees and sweep the Reds, I think we have 3 wins, one way or another, when we're back here on Monday. 3-6.
Okay.
What do you think, Fuge?
I'll say 4. Yeah, I say we sweep the Reds.
Okay, wow.
So we go 4-2. I don't want to sound like a homer, but
I'm actually agreeing with Fuji. I'm not sure.
I don't want to sound pro homer, but
No, you know what? I'm not sure how we're going to do it, but I have a feeling we're going to go 4-2 in the next 6. And if that's the case, we're 4-5 going into next week.
That's not bad.
I mean,
season's still in.
I want to say this, and I know it's a different team every year, but the Phillies, you go through their history, they just come right out of the gate flat sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but
don't forget too.
And
we started against the Rangers again, and not again,
right.
But last year we were 0-4 against them. We're 0-12 again now against them. 0-12 in the last 12 games.
Okay.
They own us. They own us.
And they're not a bad team, man. You can't take them for granted. They made.
I mean, Bruce Bochy ain't no pushover as a manager.
Bochy? Heck it. Was a hell of a coach.
I mean,
hell,
he's got 3 World Series titles with the Giants. Is it 3 or 4?
The good news about this now is we got played Yankees now. Then we play Cincinnati. After Cincinnati, Miami Marlins.
Yeah,
Cincinnati again. 4 games against Cincinnati again. So we technically can get those rolling weak teams. So hopefully,
yeah. So you figure if we could somehow get to 4-5 by the time next Monday comes, then we got another 6 versus Miami and the Reds, and then could go 4-2 or something like that in those 6. Then we're looking what 8-7.
Actually, it's a 4-game series against Cincinnati, so I think it's 7 games, isn't it? Yeah,
all
7
right, so
games.
maybe. All right, well, whatever it is, yeah. Then maybe we get 9. Then maybe we're 9-7, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? And then at that point, the season's still in diapers. Nobody's really pushed way ahead of you. And then eventually, and then you just start playing better ball. You know what I mean?
It's April baseball, like I said earlier. It's not how you start; it's where you finish.
Yeah, but you don't want to fall too. Pennants aren't won anymore.
Well, no.
But you can fall far behind, and we just want to at least stem the tide. You know what I mean? Yeah. We don't want to
keep the ship afloat and steady. That's all.
True. Pat Bernard here. He says Bruce Bochy has 11 series wins against the Phillies, I believe. Well, yeah. Well, I don't. I mean, hey. Well, I mean. Hey, if he managed the Giants when they were winning World Series and the Phillies sucked in 2014.
Yeah, he's probably got some series wins.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that kind of, that kind of breaks it down here. So, all right, well let's move on to some Sixers here. But before we do, let me give a shout out to our sponsors here. So let's move on to some Sixers. But anybody out there Anybody out there with some legal issues, call my man David R. Cherry Esquire, 610-565-0300, or go on www.cherryinjurylaw.com. He represents workers' compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, or criminal law. So anybody has a problem, give him a call.
If you listen to the Sixers game yesterday and crash your car while you were driving, call David R. Cherry.
Yeah, really. Or if you were listening, and same deal, if you were listening to the Phillies on, actually, I would say
Saturday.
No, on Thursday. I'll tell you a story on Thursday. Thursday, I leave work. They're up 5-0. I'm running a couple errands, and then next thing you know, I get back in the car. It's like 11-5. I'm like, what the hell happened? I had no idea what the hell. I was just ready to, and then I thought to myself, you know what, Aaron Nola, because he always has.
Nola had the meltdown in the 4th inning.
Yeah. So anyway, you crashed your car. You got a motor vehicle. That's a motor vehicle accident, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
There we go.
Especially if this team makes you drink.
Hell yeah.
And you get a DUI.
Yeah. Now, anybody out there that wants to go to an event, say, let's hope the Phillies don't get buried too bad early where you still want to go. You know what I'm saying? If you do, sporting events, concerts, theater, www.sherrystickets.com, family owned and operated since 1946. You could save 10% off the promo code EOP10. So local owned small business, and they will definitely hook you up. Anybody out there wants to hit a banging bar, go listen to some, they got Quizzo and music, great times, memorabilia giveaway. It's dolensbar.com down there in Ridley Park. It's 24 East Sellers Avenue, Ridley Park, PA, 19078. I know it's down my man Mike Lauro's neck of the woods and some of the guys from EOP. So, they like that spot. Here we got right here, Philly sports trips. The one for Wednesday, I believe, is sold out, as you see here. You got the Kansas City draft coming up April 27th through the 30th. And you got a Union trip coming up in Colorado. You got a Denver baseball trip. So check that out, www.phillysportstrips.com. And lastly here's the lineup for EOP. There's something for everybody on here. I know my man Diego. He's on the attacking third a lot of times. He covers the Union, so he's doing a great job. And then my buddy Pat. I saw him at the Wings game last night, and there's a show on Sunday nights called All Across All the Time. And of course, check everybody else out too. So something for everybody here at EOP Sports. So make sure you check out the lineup. But guys, Sixers. Had kind of a measuring stick last night, and I would say
they didn't measure up.
Exactly.
Test, like it said.
They always do it to us, guys. They always do it to us. They're playing great basketball right for the playoffs. We're like getting pulled in. And then we're all like excited for a measuring stick game. Blown out. Come on.
Harden.
We are 2-2 against them this year, though. So.
That's fine. You
Harden
lost them both times in Milwaukee. You beat them both times at home.
Every game was close except for this one.
Yeah, you lost both games up in Milwaukee. So if they have home court and you can't get a game in Milwaukee, that's a lost series.
Yeah.
You got to expect Milwaukee's going to come here and get one. Boston's going to come here and get one. You got to be able to win these games on the road.
Even though we're 2-2, they scare me too, man.
To me, they're the best team in the league, the Bucks.
I agree. I mean,
we have another measuring stick coming up. Wednesday, Tuesday?
Yeah, Boston. Yeah,
Tomorrow, Boston.
Yeah, but how many games we have left after that Boston game?
We have 3 games after Boston.
3 games.
And how many games we behind Boston?
3.5, I believe.
Yeah.
3.5. So if we can't make it up, that game's not even a measuring stick because Boston might just be like, we don't care if we win or lose this. We got to get to the playoffs.
Say hello, Brooklyn.
Right.
Yeah.
Play Brooklyn Sunday to close out the season.
Yeah.
And let's keep it real. Nobody's really going to play for the Sixers in that game. I mean, they may play the starters a little bit, but not much. Only because you figure Sunday's the last game. They won't play again until Saturday, and because next week you have the play-in games. Yeah. So the NBA playoffs don't start till next Saturday. So you have like almost a full week. You know what I mean? And that's How
Get everybody
concerned,
rested.
yeah, how concerned should we be over James Harden and this Achilles?
It's not an
He
injury to
looks-
play with,
Yeah, but he looks fine when he's
especially at
dribbling
his
the ball.
age.
Like, he looks all right out there. Do you see any hindrance in him? He just didn't play good the last couple of games, but he looks like the same James Harden. His
Yeah,
speed.
he got picked a million times yesterday by Drew Holiday.
Yes, he
Yeah,
did.
well, Drew's a great
5
defender now.
turnovers.
Yeah.
Like I said, 5. I mean, he didn't look like himself. But I mean, do we sign him or do we let him walk?
Is it the
You gotta
Achilles
find-
or is it the Achilles or are we just coming off the playoff time and we're just getting playoff Harden and playoff Embiid? Is that what we're getting?
I certainly hope not, because if that's the
Yeah.
case, we're looking at another second round exit.
See you
And
later.
I think
I mean-
that's what we're looking. And look, I think the Sixers are one of the best 4 teams in the league, and I think they're one of the only 4 teams that actually have a chance to win the championship. Do I think they will? No. I don't think they're good enough. They haven't proved to us they can. They're not as deep as the other 2 teams we're going to have to beat out. Now, if we were in the West, I'd be like, yeah, we got a better chance. But we're going to have to get through 2 teams here. We're going to have to beat Milwaukee in the second round or Boston in the second round, and then we're going to have to beat the other one in the finals. And no other team's knocking them other 2 teams out. So you're guaranteeing you got to go through both of them. And have the Sixers showed us that? No, it just either we're going to get same James Harden and same Joel Embiid going into the playoffs.
Just like you said earlier, we all agreed that our bench is not like Milwaukee, Celtics, etc. I mean,
Nope.
we'll be lucky. I mean, it showed it yesterday, like you said, Diego, with the Bucks, man. Drew Holiday, Lopez, but just their whole all-around bench, man. It's deep.
yeah, I
Chris
just want to
Middleton too, man. Yeah, they're a solid team, man.
And Portis, don't forget about him.
Yeah.
Portis,
Right.
Ingles made a huge 3 yesterday in that third quarter. That rocked us.
Yeah.
We're getting that game a little bit. He made a big 3. I was like, all right, damn.
Yeah, got a couple comments here. We'll get to this in a second. Pat Bernard, big question: pretenders or contenders? I think Diego kind of just touched on that a little bit, but we'll get into that. Mike Lauro, trade Embiid. Yeah, we got you, Mike. We're not pushing that yet. And then Daniel Barry, sports highlights. Yo, hey, what's up? Thanks for
Yeah,
checking
what's
us
up, bro?
So I got one more
How you
here. Mike Lauro says, I said this a month ago and got called crazy.
And Mike, I'm sorry, man. You're still crazy.
Well, I think what he's saying is it's a second round exit, but
I thought he meant the trade MB thing was crazy. I was gonna say, yeah, that's still crazy.
So to Pat's question, I think the Sixers are contenders. Unfortunately, we're in the East, and if the Sixers are the 3 seed, unfortunately they have to play either Boston or which it looks like it's going to be Boston because Milwaukee's probably going to hold on to 1 seed. So let's just say, unfortunately, we're playing against a team that we don't match up good with. So that's why I think it's another second round exit. Now, if you put the Sixers in the West, I think they'd have a great chance to go to the Western Conference Finals if they're
Me
healthy.
too. 100%.
Right.
They're definitely contenders. They're just they're contenders that like to pretend a lot.
Yeah,
No.
you don't know what you're going to get each night. In and
Like-
out.
Like I said last week, with these injuries creeping up is the wrong time. Like, they were on fire and then hit that West Coast swing and just came down to earth.
It's always
but
same
do you-
shit with
Yeah.
this team.
Yeah.
And like you
Don't
said,
know.
they don't have the benches that Boston and Milwaukee have.
Yeah.
Tell you one thing, Maxi's a bright spot. He's been balling,
And playing
Oh,
great
yeah.
defense.
Yeah.
Max has been playing
Yeah,
good defense.
Hurt us, Diego. Yeah. I mean, he's playing hell of a game, Keep on doing it. Where's Tobias been?
Yeah,
On a milk carton.
Here's the problem, right? Do you think that, do you think they're just, all right, not to play devil's advocate here, but should we really be panicking necessarily? Because if you look, the Sixers are pretty much locked into, they've pretty much known that they've been locked into the 3 seed for the last week and a half because they were only
Right.
I think they moved ahead of Boston, but then they lost to the Bulls.
Yeah.
And then Embiid got kind of dinged up and Harden got hurt. and they lost those few games, and that locked them into the 3. So don't you think maybe we're looking too much into this? Where maybe these guys are just like, yo, just get us to the playoffs. I mean, and just reserve our judgment.
Then if Harden's not 100%, why play him?
True.
Well, I don't.
If we're locked in the 3 seed and Harden has Achilles issue, rest him until the playoff. Then
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he has an injury though.
Right.
I think they want to stay. They want to kind of be in sync going into the playoffs, and right now they are not in sync. They didn't look at yesterday. You wouldn't be playing Harden if you knew you were locked into the 3. You know you ain't moving from there with an Achilles injury. You wouldn't be playing him. He's got to be 100, and he's got to be 100 to be playing these games.
They look lost.
Yeah, you think they're playing possum?
No,
I mean, if you're saying just get into the playoffs,
because no one's going to sleep on Embiid and James Harden. Like even if they're playing possum, I don't think teams are like, well, let's fall asleep on James Harden and Embiid. I think everyone knows who they're playing when they go into play against us. You know what I mean? So I don't think they can play possum.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So we probably all kind of agree that these next few games. I mean, Boston, I would say is a measuring stick, but we don't know. I don't really know how keen is Boston. Like how far up is Milwaukee on Boston? Let me look at that real quick. Let's see.
I thought it was only a game and a half going in the.
All right, it's 2
as of earlier. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's 2? It's 2 games. The Bucks are 2 games up on Boston. So you know what? Boston probably will play to win tomorrow night. Then, if you think about it.
So do we play? So do we play super hard and try to take that win from them and someone get hurt? Or just kind of lollygag through that one, let Boston get in, let them and the Bucks figure out the 1 seed, and we know we're locked into the 3.
I would play 2.
I think you got to come out and beat Boston. Just, Boston's in the Sixers' heads. Like, knock them off. If you see them in the second round, and, you get that confidence, that cohesiveness going.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, you just can't lay down to these guys when they own your asses, basically.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right there,
100%. Honestly, I would play to win this game because I don't want to go into the playoffs 0-4 against them. At least if we can beat them tomorrow night, at least like Mike said, it gives us a little bit of confidence. And then theoretically, after that, you can pretty much have your guys mostly chill from tomorrow night's Wednesday night. Yeah. They would pretty much be able to chill all the way to the following Saturday.
Another thing, and Boston feels like we can't beat them this year. If we do go there on a game that really don't matter to us, but matters a ton to them and beat them, we might strike a little bit of fear into Boston. They might be like, all right, man, the game they didn't even need at all. They played like it was a playoff game, and they got it. They got us. You know what I'm saying? You start putting in their head, the Sixers can beat us. They can beat us if we don't bring our A game. And maybe we want to strike a little bit of that into their head.
Come out tomorrow night and send a message.
100%.
You're right. Exactly. And the last game we played them, they beat us on a last-second 3. That game could have gone either way. So really, the first, the first game. Well, we played them the first game of the year. I don't take much out of that. That was week. No. That was night number 1. So to me, that's almost like a whole other season. So I don't even count the first game. Second game, they took it to us in Boston. Yeah. Last game could have gone either way, and then this game, we'll see what happens. So, you know what I'm saying? Because you guys know what it's like. Week 1 in an NBA, or I'm sorry, not week 1, night 1 in an NBA season. It's 1 out of 82. It's hard to totally judge that game. Yeah. You know what I mean?
100%. And our guys are pretty much our whole team barely didn't play together. You know what I'm saying? That first game was like a whole new game for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, plus, playoffs, it's a different level. It's, it's a different animal.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. So let's not even bother for the week because we don't even know who's playing. Normally we do a prediction for the week, but we don't even know if we're going to be playing our starters. So let's just predict tomorrow night's game. And then I just want to touch on one more thing before we get out of here. So, do the Sixers, if both teams play at full strength tomorrow night, do the Sixers come out, ball out, and win this game here tomorrow night? What do you guys think?
You got to
win.
It sets the tone for the playoffs going right in there, especially if you see, like I said, Boston in the second round.
They eke out a win. They pull a win out,
If it's both squads, we're playing with no pressure on our shoulders, and they're playing with all the pressure on their shoulders to get to play for that 1 seed. I feel like the game's going to come easier to us, and we'll win that game. If we both are healthy and they blow us out of the water, I'm scared of going into the playoffs, dude. That might be a second round exit in 5 games, 6.
Yeah, it actually shows what the team is really all about and what they look like. Yeah.
Diego, we got a comment here. Anthony Stass, I'm back, my boys. What's up, Anthony?
Yeah, what's up, dog?
What's up, bro?
How you doing?
All right, so let's get one more thing before we get out of here. So does anybody have an opinion on tonight? It's the NCAA final game. We got UConn and San Diego State. I believe UConn is favored by like 7.5. Any thoughts?
I liked UConn earlier in the morning, and as the day's going on, I'm kind of leaning towards San Diego State covering the 7.5.
Right there with them.
Thank
Damn,
you.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm with them.
I took UConn. Damn it. All right.
I liked
Oh,
UConn this morning too. When you said it, I was like, UConn's going to blow it out. And then as the day went on, reading stuff online, everyone was like, San Diego State's a dog team, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, 7.5 is a lot for a national championship game.
And Paul, what's your thoughts?
I kind of feel the way San Diego State played this tournament so far. I think it's their year, man. I think they take it tonight.
Okay, at least I have one.
Let's
I have
see.
one brother with me. Mike Lauro says UConn, baby. Thank God. I got another one. Oh wow!
Get out of here,
whatever.
Stas. Get out of here, Stas. You said you're bad read back.
Well, he says I think UConn has the edge, but San Diego State defense is scary, so you never know. You know what, Diego? I want the winner to have 1 and the loser to have 0.
Yeah, that's a stack. That's a stack. That's a stack for us.
I'm going to go UConn myself.
All right, Mike. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I got.
Do they
another
cover
one.
the 7.5 though? Do they cover the? I think UConn wins.
No.
I just don't think they cover the 7.5.
No, it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a close game.
Well, if they don't, Mike Lauro took them in the EOP bracket. So, all right. Well, if they don't cover the 7.5, then have it be like 71-70, and I won't care about my little bet. Yeah.
Yeah,
you know
let's
what I
go,
mean?
Joe. Let's
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
Did you bet the house?
No,
Nah,
man.
we did a block pool thing.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Oh, I'm going to be definitely watching.
And
now,
we have-
tuning in
and-
for that
and-
0 and 1.
We have the winning team ends in 1, and the losing team ends in 0. So if it's like 61-50 or 71-70, whatever, 71-60, yeah. So at that point, and for the final game, Diego, that's probably a nice amount of money.
Oh,
It's $1,000.
Bet, hit that, John.
Ching.
Hit that, John. Yeah, you know what, Diego, if that's the case, we're going to Sizzler, dog.
That's still around.
No,
The Sizzler's still around.
We'll open it back up with our $1,000.
Yeah,
Why don't you go to Roy Rogers?
I was gonna say, if we hit for a stat.
Hey, Roy Rogers kicked ass back in the day.
Yeah, they're still around.
Roy
kind of.
Rogers had
They're still around, kind of.
Arby's is still around.
Yo,
They got an Arby's up on Street Road.
Another one of Franklin Mills.
Denny's.
Oh, they do? I didn't know that.
Arby's.
Yeah, they do,
What's
yeah.
that saying? They go Arby's. We got the meats. You know,
Yeah.
Arby's,
Yeah.
Yeah. We got the meats.
They need more of them Johns, man.
Yeah,
They
are.
need
They're
more of
building-
them
they're
Johns.
building one up around here.
Yeah, they're building one right by the gym, right at York Road and Street Road. See, I'm so excited. Yo, I'm so excited. I'm so excited thinking about the Arby's meats. I can't even speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in your mouth.
That's what she said.
Just like Papinari likes meat in his mouth.
That's what she said.
What's that say? Yo, it's like, what's that saying? They're like, I got I got the meat. You got to work for the gravy. You know what I mean?
All the above.
On that note,
Yeah,
I'm getting out of here, guys.
All the
we're jumping
above.
Yeah, real quick. I just want a couple comments and we'll get out of here. Dave Yarnell, San Diego State's having a great season. They finishing out tonight. Damn. Mike Lauro says Sizzler. Yeah, LOL. Mike Lauro, too. Here's a spot here, Fuddruckers, yo.
Yeah.
Diego, you don't know all about Fuddruckers, do you?
I don't know anything about either of them places. I just know how you referred to it, what it was.
Remember Ponderosa back in the day?
What's that?
What was it, Paul? Yeah.
Ponderosa.
Yeah, Ponderosa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's another one you guys may not even remember. Maybe because I'm the old head. Rustler's Steakhouse.
Oh, no, I remember that.
No
Yeah.
clue.
All right.
Nice road. Nice by the Woodhaven.
Is it Nights
Yeah.
in the
I don't remember
Boulevard?
that,
Yeah.
John.
Nights in
Yeah.
the Boulevard.
It's
I'm showing my age.
It's that pizza place there now.
I remember my dad taking
Davey
me to
Arnold, Farrell's. You ever hear of it? What's the place? Farrell's. What the hell is that?
That's in Dover County.
I was at a Delco place. All right. Well, whatever. I'm only kidding about the Sizzler. Me and Diego be going somewhere good though. That's still in business. All right.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll go to like
Capital Grill.
Lost Margaritas, yo.
Yeah, we'll get the good food
On
somewhere.
the boulevard up in Southampton.
The joint in Southampton, right? Not that.
I was
far
just
from
there.
work.
I was just there a few weeks ago at the Lost Margaritas. I think it sucked.
Really?
Yeah.
One in Southampton's better. The one on the boulevard's too damn small.
No,
That place ought to move somewhere larger. Oh, okay.
I didn't like it. The menu was like nothing. It was crap. I think it was garbage.
Yeah. So all right. Well,
You're the
on that
first person I ever heard.
So
Never mind.
you're the first person I ever heard say Las Margaritas was not good.
No, the last
Yeah,
time I
that's
went,
what I
it
was
was
gonna
not
say.
good.
Maybe the
Last time
cook
I
just
went a
sucked.
couple
Maybe
weeks
the
ago, it was
cook.
not good.
Maybe the cook just sucked.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Gotta
Last
give it
time I
another
went
try.
a couple weeks ago, it was not good.
Yeah.
If
Well,
me and Joe will treat you back if we win tonight.
yeah. Exactly.
There you
Yeah.
go.
There you go. Yeah. We hit.
Hold
that
him to
joint.
it, Paul.
We hit that
Hold
joint.
him to it.
We'll take you to Lost Margaritas. Okay.
Sure.
Oh, here we go.
Can we all go?
Grand Rodeo kills that
Yeah,
place.
you know
though,
what?
by the way.
We hit that joint. The Sully squad's all going to Lost Margaritas. I do that.
Yeah.
Why don't we
okay,
do the
there you
show
go.
from there next week?
Grand Rodeo's better.
Do the
So-
show from there next week.
Yeah, hell yeah, yeah. Let's do that. Yeah, we'll get all
Get all banged up on the show.
Yeah, we'll wrap the Lost Margaritas. We'll be like, yo, you all mind if we do this little podcast here real quick? You know what I mean?
Don't be like, no speak any English. No speak any English. You'll be like, yeah, can we do our podcast for you? No speak any English. You'll be like, all right, dude.
Siete. We'll
Yeah,
be
but-
done.
Yo, that would be you think about it though, Diego, that would be great because if they're like we don't speak English, we'd be like, all right, cool, no problem. We'll start getting this shit up. Yeah.
I'd be like, hold on a minute. Y'all thought you were going to get away with that. You guys thought you were going to get away. Let me spit some fire right now.
Wait, what's this?
I said they thought they were going to get away with it. Now here I come spitting that Spanish fire.
Oh,
like
man.
you can't get away with it. This podcast right here.
Caliente.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? Well, at least I told you the story. I told you the story. Remember the kid from Cuba? And remember I told you about the little kid. You remember Dino from Cuba?
Yeah.
Remember we used to play basketball and he'd be like, "Oh, Fidel Castro, well, fuck you." Remember? our buddy Kino. I got to tell you this story, right? Our buddy Kino is from Cuba.
Oh man.
No, I swear to God, I'm not fucking with you. He really did, right? So anyway, he didn't speak any English, right? We were playing basketball. So we would, he was a nice kid, but we would mess with him a little bit, and we had him going. So we tell him to go up, be like, oh, say some funny stuff.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way, be politically correct. You know what I mean? But so we asked Kino to translate it because Kino's from Spain. So we're like, yo, bro, what the hell's this dude saying, dude? And Kino's funny. Kino's like, oh, dude, I don't understand what the hell he's saying. I'm like, what the hell do you mean? He speaks Spanish.
He's supposed to be the translator.
He had no idea. So I'm like, I don't. So I'm like, I mean, I don't know. I guess there's different dialects of Spanish.
Yeah, there is.
Oh yeah.
Spain
It's like
and
Italian.
South America, Spanish is different.
Yeah.
It's the dialect. Yeah.
Well, apparently because he had no idea. Well, think about it. I mean, it's almost like a Philadelphia. It's almost like a Philadelphian going to Boston. Like I was up at Fenway Park back in 2004, and I asked this dude, I'm like, yo, bro, any good places to party? And he's like, nah, the party's over there. I'm like, nah, dog, I don't gotta take a piss. I said, where do I go party?
Down by the yard. You want to get his yard?
Well, some countries speak Portuguese too.
Yeah, Brazil speaks Portuguese.
No.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Well, yeah. Hey, Hey, I barely can speak English sometimes, so you know what I mean. What are you gonna do? You know, but all right. Well, I guess on that note, I guess we'll wrap it up here. But all right. So I'm gonna say forget San Diego State and UConn. I'm saying 71-70, baby, and then
Let's
and then
go. Let's go.
and then let's literally
And
just like. That would be so funny. We just take all our shit to Lost Margaritas. We're like, yo, you know, podcast from here or what? You know?
We should.
We're setting up.
That would kick ass.
I'm gonna be like,
yeah,
make
that
sure
was
you
fun
get
as
your food
well.
right this time because my boy said your food sucks.
Yeah.
I said last time it sucked, so I'll try it again. If it sucks again, then I'll say it sucks.
Oh man.
Grand Rodeo's better.
Well, Grand Rodeo is the one. I will say that. But
Where is
all
that?
right, guys. Well, let's,
Warrington.
I'll wrap to you guys. Have a
Okay.
good week. Go Sixers.
Off the 611.
Go Sixers.
Okay.
Go Phillies. And you know what? And tomorrow night, real quick. Any of you baseball fans out there? I'm going to give me and Paul a little plug right here. Any baseball fans out there? Myself and you, Paul, the guy right there, and the guy right there that thinks Lost Margaritas blows. We are doing. And anybody, if anybody works for Lost Margaritas, don't hold that against us because we're going to do a really good baseball show tomorrow night. We're breaking down on Out of Box Network. We are breaking down the first week of the regular season. Any prospects that are, I don't even look at the minor leagues yet, so forget the prospects. But we'll break down the first week, who's doing good, and give us a shout out and check us out tomorrow night. So. All right, everybody, go Phillies, go Sixers, and we'll see you all next week.
So
All right, guys.
Play the song.